The Timeless Children is here, and it's ready to change the Doctor Who canon forever. In part 1 of this video essay, we discussed some of Chibnall's classic Who influences on the story, namely the likes of the Brain of Morbius and the Deadly Assassin. We discussed the new history of the Time Lords and what that means for the regeneration limit, broke down some potential plot holes, and discussed how we believe the Master will inevitably survive.
Goody.
We recommend watching the first part of this video before this second part, as the final conclusion will make much more sense. But let's jump into the Division. We know so little about the secretive Time Lord group known as the Division that it's hard to extrapolate on their actual goals. No doubt, this will be expanded upon in seasons to come. That said, the information was sensitive enough that the Doctor's entire memory of this time period was effectively erased.
Everything from here is redacted, blocked out, all but erased.
The only true memory we have as of now is his initiation into the organization, where they claim that he's been tested and the results are the best they've ever seen, whatever that means. They have a strict policy of non-intervention in other worlds and times. This is very similar to another secretive organization coincidentally introduced in, the Deadly Assassin, again, known as the CIA, or the Celestial Intervention Agency.
The sentence was subsequently remitted at the intercession of the CIA.
Celestial Intervention Agency. They get their fingers into everything. Is he mixed up with them?
There's nothing further on the file.
Oh, yes. They'd see to it that there wouldn't be.
Is the Division simply a different name for the CIA, or is it some rival organization that does the same thing? I expect Chibnall just wanted a less corny name than the CIA. The memory closes as the Division agent proposes something. Interestingly, Tecteun is with the Doctor while he initiates into the organization, meaning he likely is also in the Division. Is the Time Lord Gat also in the Division? At this point, it seems likely. The Doctor is gifted by Tecteun a false memory after the memories of the Doctor's service at the time was wiped from their memory. Strangely, the memories are of an Irish boy named Brendan, found and adopted, and he grows up to join the Garda. The events that transpire parallel to some degree the life or lives lived by the Doctor prior to the memory wipe in the Division. What I find more fascinating is the choice here to use Ireland as a replacement Gallifrey. It's worth noting that never in the show's 56-year history have they actually shot any scenes in Ireland, nor have any Doctors or companions on the TV program hailed from Ireland. But it's been a recurring joke in Who that Gallifrey is a place in Ireland. It was featured in Human Nature.
Where did you learn to draw?
Gallifrey.
Is that in Ireland?
Yes, it must be, yes.
But was first introduced in The Invisible Enemy.
Place of origin?
Gallifrey.
Ireland?
Oh, I expect so.
Thank you, that's all we need for now.
The inclusion of Ireland as a faux Gallifrey seems a cheeky way to tie those two locales together canonically at long last. But it must be stated, there is no real evidence these Ireland scenes were actually filmed in Ireland, and they were most likely filmed in Merthyr Mawr, Wales. With that, it's important we discuss Ruth again. The Doctor point blank asks her where she fits in all of this.
Where do you fit into all this?
Surprisingly, instead of claiming to be the X regeneration here, or between here and there, or even one of the regenerations at the heart of the Division era of the Doctor's life, she does not answer. We cannot say definitively whether or not she is before William Hartnell or not. But if she is pre-Hartnell, and does indeed have a police box TARDIS, that causes a major plot hole. In the Series 7 finale, The Name of the Doctor, we see Impossible Girl Clara travel to help each of the Doctors up to that point. I don't consider the fact that she doesn't help any incarnations prior to that point an issue, as in the very same episode we're also introduced to John Hurt's War Doctor, and that wasn't one of the incarnations she aided.
I never saw that one. I saw all of you.
She sees the first Doctor steal a TARDIS, however, alongside Susan, and this goes on to become the police box TARDIS we know and love. This isn't some false memory in the Matrix. This is Clara's lived experience going through time and helping the Doctor out. That's something that actually happened and cannot be retconned. Ruth must be a hidden incarnation after Hartnell because of the TARDIS state in The Fugitive of the Judoon, most likely between the second and third Doctors, as we postulated in our 7 Ruth Theories video. If she is supposed to be a pre-Hartnell Doctor, they've opened up a huge plot hole. It's clear Chibnall is very fluent when it comes to his classic Who knowledge, but perhaps isn't as familiar with Moffat-era Who. Though, I doubt it. I suspect he still has post-Hartnell plans for Ruth, considering he purposely chose not to reveal where she fits. So most likely, Ruth does fit in the division somehow, but likely so did the second Doctor based on a couple episodes. More on that in a future video. Subscribe if you're interested in diving into that possibility, and be sure to click that bell icon for notifications. But back in the Matrix, it's important we discuss how the Doctor got out. Whether you like the episode or not, it's quite a rare moment for the Doctor Who theme to play over anything outside of the intro, and I personally enjoyed this bit best in the episode. Telepathic contact was a way for Time Lords to quickly and efficiently bridge minds and relay sensitive or time-consuming information to one another. We first saw it used in The Three Doctors, but we've also seen it in New Who several times. Most notably, it's been used on multiple occasions throughout Series 12 between humans and Time Lords alike.
Contact. Old school.
You're not the only one who can do classic.
All of this sets the stage for the Doctor's biggest ever telepathic contact, with every memory of herself within the Matrix. Or at least with select memories with other versions of herself scattered throughout the Matrix, and that's how she broke free of the prison. In The Deadly Assassin, it isn't suggested that's how the Fourth Doctor broke free of the Matrix, but rather that he used too much Artron energy. We can actually decipher a lot from this short but jam-packed montage sequence. Notably, we have the 13 known incarnations prior to Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor, including John Hurt's War Doctor, in descending order. We also have the 6 Timeless Children faces, which we now know are the 6 earliest incarnations of the Doctor in ascending order. We have the 8 faces introduced in the Morbius story way back in 1976 in descending order. But also placed there at the end is a prolonged look at Jo Martin's Ruth Doctor. This isn't a clue as to her placement, as the Doctor clearly doesn't know where to place her. We also get every canonical introduction of the Master in descending order, perhaps meaning that Sacha Dhawan's Master is the latest incarnation. We get a bevy of villains, new and classic alike. Fascinatingly, we do not receive a look at a prominent Sixth Doctor foe, the Valeyard, or the Curator introduced in The Day of the Doctor, both of which are future incarnations of the Doctor. Why can't the Doctor remember them?
Who knows?
That's the topic of our next Doctor Who deep dive theory. Why can't the Doctor remember multi-Doctor stories while they're happening, even though he's experienced them more than once? Again, subscribe if that's something you'd like to see. Once the Doctor is free of the Matrix, she makes several truly poor choices, in my opinion. We see Gallifrey's Citadel in ruins throughout Series 12, but did the Doctor ever check once to see whether there was any normal Gallifreyan, non-Time Lord life left on Gallifrey outside of the Citadel before choosing to use the Death Particle, which kills all organic life on a planet? No, of course she doesn't. She takes the Master's word for it.
I did.
In Ascension of the Cybermen, we discover that there are only 7 humans left in the whole galaxy.
7 humans left?
But we've seen further than the Cyber Wars in Who Canon before, like in Utopia for instance, where there are more than 7 humans. But in The Timeless Children, for reasons, the Doctor sends all the humans to 21st century Earth, meaning that now there are no humans in the galaxy whatsoever to repopulate the galaxy to continue the line of humanity. So that's a huge plot hole right there. We never did learn why Ashad, the lone Cyberman, was torturing other Cybermen, which is more poor writing than a plot hole necessarily.
Carrying a Cyberman that makes other Cybermen scream.
When did Polkon Dawn grow her horn back? Or is the timeline confused? Many questions and plot holes. While I can't say I'm necessarily pleased with the bulk of the choices made in this 2-part finale, Series 12 was a serious step up from Series 11. Whittaker has firmly planted her feet in the Doctor's boots, and it's clear Chibnall has an ultimate endgame we still have yet to witness. While many will be quick to call Chibnall out on potentially destroying or disrespecting 56 years of the fandom by creating earlier incarnations of the Doctor, nearly every choice he's made here clearly stems from wanting to close mysteries left wide open from the classic Doctor Who era. In 65 minutes, he's rewritten much of what we know about the Doctor, the Time Lords, and the show, period. But as Ruth says,
have you ever been limited by who you were before?
This in no way invalidates anything we have watched or come to witness from the series, and in no way does this break established canon that I can tell. And trust me, this entire 2-part video essay was a way for me to dissect whether or not this does break canon. I see it as simply opening up doors previously covered up with a perception filter. Many fans are suggesting that this breaks canon altogether, but I hope this sheds some light on the fact that this is perhaps the most prominent example of New Who being steeped in classic Who lore and mythology. I am personally disheartened that the First Doctor is no longer the original per se.
As it happens, I am the Doctor. The original, you might say.
But maybe whatever Tecteun did to him then made him in that incarnation an actual Time Lord for the first time. Who's to say? Also, I just realized that in almost 4,000 words, I haven't once mentioned any of the three companions. In fact, nothing of note happens to any of the three companions, story-wise, in this entire season. That shows the series lacks confidence on their shoulders. It's time for it to move on from them. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to leave us a like on your way out, consider helping us fund the production of videos like this on our Patreon, and subscribe if you want to see more like it. Thanks. Have a good one.